Vinod, we are here in Copenhagen, and our motto for this year, Siemens Gamesa, is behind us, industrializing wind power. Powering progress together, step by step. What do we mean when we say that?
You know, when you think about what the wind industry needs, it's all about scaling up. And while there is a strong foundation with the fact that we already have installed about 285 gigawatts of renewable energy in Europe, including the UK, we still have a long way to go. Because to meet the European demand and targets, we need to install almost 450 gigawatts, which means that every year for the next few years, we should be installing close to 40 gigawatts per year just for wind, right? And if you look at what's happened the last year, in 2024, the amount actually installed was only about 16 gigawatts. So there is a huge gap between ambition and aspiration and what's actually happening in reality. And I think we have to find a way to work together across the whole industry to close this gap so that we can actually realize our ambitions.
In closing that gap, in an op-ed in Recharge yesterday, you call this a scale or fail moment for the wind industry. What does that imply?
Yeah, when you talk about scale or fail, sometimes people make a very negative discussion around it. I see it's all about opportunity. Because when you think about the demand growth and what Europe needs to do to become competitive in its industrial base, the one thing it needs is cheap, clean energy. And when you compare wind to gas or other sources, wind can be much cheaper. Europe today pays more than 5 times for gas-based energy. And this is not necessary. If you look at the resources Europe has around it, wind being one of the most dominant ones, there is a lot we can do here. So the key is to find a way to really drive this opportunity agenda, which is around industrializing Europe in a very competitive way. This is what wind can offer, and I think we really should tackle it.
But when we look at Siemens Gamesa, how are we faring when it comes to industrializing our setup, industrializing our delivery?
Yeah, I think that is the core, the word industrializing. So what we are doing at Siemens Gamesa is transitioning to a much more of a product, manufacturing, service-centric business. So with this in mind, just recently we installed over 5,000 offshore wind turbines. There is not a single other company in the world that can boast of that kind of a track record. We are also doing a lot to invest in our supply chain, in our factories to be able to build out the capacity, to be able to ramp up the manufacturing. And last but not least, we're also working very closely with Siemens Energy to make sure that we are leveraging the full ecosystem of Siemens Energy as one of the largest energy technology companies in the world. And all of this together is making us, as Siemens Gamesa, a very compelling partner in the step-by-step transition.
As we go through the industrialization, what is then our main ask to decision makers, to the stakeholders we have, to enable us to succeed with this?
I think there's a lot of policies already set into place with the Clean Industry Act and so forth, the Net Zero Industry Act. I think these frameworks are great, but now we need to get them into action. What that means is you really got to move certain things faster. Things around permitting, driving the grid around the renewables faster, making sure that the right kind of investments and subsidies are provided to make sure that these new technologies, these new capex can be supported. So I think it's all about taking these very good intentions and frameworks, converting them into actions so we can get the outcomes as quickly as possible.
A great starting point for the discussion in the next couple of days.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Absolutely, looking forward to it. Thank you.